In this example, we're going to start a database based on a blank one. So we are going to start everything from scratch. We're going to start designing a table. If you look at this view that we are in now, it's actually your datasheet view. This is actually the sample view that you will have of the finished product of your table. And at this present moment, you will see that the field name you have in here is only the ID. Now we might need to change this field names and do new field names and then define them as well. Now this is where we will understand what field names are and then what values the field names will be resembling. Now I'm going to go into the design view of my table. Firstly, I will have to save the table. It is a good practice to actually define the table by actually typing in the start of the table by TBL. It's just a common programming practice that people use. So I'm going to start a new table, and the name of the table is table computer courses. Now I'm going to be storing all my computer courses in this particular table. When I click on OK, I'm in the design view of my table. Take note now that once you open that, by default, Microsoft Access suggests that the ID becomes your primary key. Now let's look at the ID itself and the data type of the ID. If I allow the ID to be a auto number, Microsoft Access is going to generate the automatic numbers for my first entry, which will be, for example, 1 for my first entry, 2 for my second entry, 3 for my third entry, and so on. Now, there is a way that you can go in and actually change the properties of the data type here. If you go in there, you can change the field size to say what actually is the field size of your auto number, just to make sure that the values in there are actually the same. So for example, if I go in here and say my field number, it's a replication ID and so on, so I can go in and change that. I can go in and also change the new values to say because it's an auto number, do they increase, do I have a 1 and a 2 and so on and so on. So we're going to be talking about this field properties a lot. Now I've got an option to go in and change this to say I don't need this to be a primary key. So at the moment I don't want a unique identifier for my table, so I switch off the primary key mode and I change this from being ID to being course ID. So this would be the number of a specific course in the list. So and I might want to change the data type to say the field it's actually text because I want to store this as a mixture of numbers and alphabets, so I want it to be text, the field to be text. Now the description here, when you design, you might want to remind yourself to say, what do you mean actually by a course ID? In this case, I want to say it's an ID given to a specific course. Now, all my courses will have IDs so that I can identify my courses by this particular ID. For example, if I say C001, I mean this particular course. If I say C002, I mean a particular course. Now, once that is done, I can go in and go into my second field name. In this case, let's call it computer course or course name. Let's call it course name. So this will be text as well, because this is will be the name of the computer course that we are offering. And I can go in to give the description of the course itself. And if you look in here, you will see that text property also have got its own field properties there that we can some of them we can change, and we can actually control in here. So at the moment we're not going to control anything. In the later sessions we are going to be looking at various field properties and how you can change them and so on. Now let's go in and edit again, and put in the course start date. This is the date that the course will be starting. Now in this case, now we will be looking at the field name to be date and time. Now you'll see that once I change this field name to date and time, the field properties also here will actually allow me to control the date and time properties. So I want this one to be date and time, so the date to start the course, and I can go in and have the course end date. Course end date, and also its date and time. So we want the field property here to be date and time. We'll go in and select date and time. Okay, now once I've designed all the field properties that I want, I might want to go into my datasheet view and view the courses and the field names that I've designed. You must first save the table, so Access will ask you to first save the the table that you have designed. So we say yes, and we've got a table displaying the course names and the course start dates and so on. So this is our finished product, which is the table that we have designed in here. Now once this is done, we can go in and start populating our table. So our database now have got a table here that we can now start populating and start looking at the entries that goes in there.